Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of
How To.
How To. And here we are, your hosts, your happy hosts of How To.
Shauna.
Jasmine. We are your experts for how-to things that you would never think of.
Today we are going to talk about how to trap goblins without trapping pixies.
Pixies or fairies.
or fairies.
Fairies. Yeah. Now I know what you're thinking. I mean, you've tried it before and it was unsuccessful and you're a little reluctant to try again because, you know, those goblins, they can be ghastly creatures.
And it really is sad when you kill the pixies.
Right. You want a pixie-free goblin is what you want. So we're here today to tell you that yes, it can be done, we're going to tell you.
It can be done.
It can be done. We've done it, in fact.
We were tired of digging little graves for the pixies and fairies, so we set our minds to figure out how to stop that.
Right. We are all for humane goblin catching.
And killing.
But
that will be next week.
That'll be the next week how to. How to skin, poach, and gut your goblin.
I love to skin me some goblin. Then we can make a hat out of them. Oh, so much fun.
Because Purim is coming up, the Jewish holiday of costumes, and who doesn't love a goblin hat? You know, those ears, those are always such party favorites.
Favorites, yes. So, how to trap them without harming the poor pixies and fairies. First step.
Well, you're going to want something to entice your goblin and attract your goblin. Goblins are generally attracted to shiny, sparkly kind of objects. So you're going to want to get a nice collection of those together.
Yes, it's a well-known fact. Sparkly objects. So we brought a few here. Suggestions, just suggestions, you can find lying around the house.
So some ideas you might want to take in are necklaces, jewelry, anything sparkly.
Sparkly jewelry, yes.
Not dull jewelry, sparkly.
Mirrors, they're very vain creatures. They like to check themselves out.
They'll look at themselves for hours.
Constantly, and I just don't understand it. They're so furry. Why?
But they're fascinated with themselves.
Yeah.
Not unlike ourselves.
They like to groom.
They do like to groom. So you might want to also think of something like toenail clippers. They're shiny, and goblins would be attracted to them.
Pair the mirror with the clippers together.
And you've got yourself a goblin for sure.
No doubt.
Do keep in mind though that you want to use things that you won't miss yourself. So you know if you're going for the long talon look, clippers would be a great thing to dispose of because you won't be clipping yourself anytime soon.
So true.
Also, little brass things with spirals on top. Hot item.
And Indian gods.
They're
really into the Indian gods.
You wouldn't know it just to look at those goblins, but they're
kind
fascinated.
They're a little religious, I think.
Yeah.
All things Indian.
Right.
Only.
So
those are some things to entice them then.
And then what you're going to want to do is dig yourself a big hole, big ditch, right?
Well, that's one way to do it, yes. We did discuss the ditch.
Okay, option 1, dig a big ditch. Now, we're going to give you a couple different options because if you're like me, digging a ditch isn't really what you want to do before you catch your goblin. I mean, it's so much work.
It's tiring.
It's tiring. You get all that dirt under your fingernails, and then you don't even really care about the goblin at the end of the day because you're just so exhausted by the whole process.
Plus, your clippers are down in the ditch.
Right.
So what are you going to do?
Another option would be...
Well, we discussed how goblins are bigger than the pixie fairies.
Yes. Yes.
So you need to get some sort of netting that will trap the goblin, but allow the pixie and fairy to escape.
Right. Allow the pixie and the fairy to enjoy the sparkly objects themselves as they will and are wont to do, but be able to flee once the net is dispatched and over the goblin, because you don't want them all together.
You can easily find the perfect netting at your local Walmart, Target, in the laundry section.
Yeah. Who knew? Who knew? Laundry sacks are perfect for catching goblins.
It's big enough for a goblin, but they have these tiny holes for the pixies and fairies to get out.
Small holes for the pixies and fairies.
Reenactment. Jasmine's the goblin.
Ooh, pretty shiny object.
Gotcha!
Ah! Ah! Oh, let me go! Let me go!
And you can just pull on the tie here in the back so that they can't get free.
Oh, with my pixie friends! They're getting away!
And the pixies,
pixie
they
friends.
just go out through these little holes. It's perfect.
Great, yeah. There we go. So, now what you're probably wondering is, how are you going to get the net to go over the goblin and rig that whole thing out? Well, we are going to tell you. It helps to make a little trail so that one shiny object leads to another shiny object, leads to another, and so on, so that you've created a kind of trail leading your goblin right into the heart of the trap. So it does help if they get a little bit more enticing as they go along. You might want to end with the mirror.
Definitely,
That's where they're
definitely end with the mirror, because they'll be there for hours.
Right.
And that is where you get them.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't see anything else.
They
but
don't
themselves, they're so vain.
Those
So vain,
goblins.
yeah.
So once you've got everything in position, you've got yourself a nice little trail, and you've got the mirror.
Mirror at the end.
Mm-hmm. Next to the toenail
Let's
clippers.
do it again. Once more.
Once more.
Follow as if a goblin.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Follow as if a goblin, the trail. And I will be behind a tree or a shrubbery.
Trees or shrubbery. Big, thick shrubberies, but not so thick that you're not going to be able to
lying in wait.
get over them pretty easy.
So, goblin.
Ooh, shiny object.
Oh, I see the goblin coming.
Ooh, another shiny object.
Here it comes.
Ooh, another shiny object.
Don't move before they get to the mirror.
Shiny object.
Very important.
It's me. Oh. And see, they don't see anything coming. They just look at themselves.
You could just stand right over them and trap them.
Ah! Ah!
Remember, once you got it around there, pull on the string.
And all the fairies will fly right through the holes.
They'll fly out. You don't have to dig any more fairy graves, fairy pixie graves. You just cart your goblin off, ready to gut it, skin it for that nice hat.
And dinner.
And dinner, yeah, well, next week.
Next week.
Next week. So thank you for joining us again on How To. And we'll pick it up next time on the many uses, how to use every single part of the goblin that you caught.
Yes, how to be green.
With your goblin.
Yeah, how to be green with your goblin. All right, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.